Yo, what's up, people? It's your boy. I'm Chris Dom One, and I am back with another video. You know what you got to do: rate, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you'll know when my next video or live stream goes down. Without further ado, we're going to be talking about the draft and not more or less the draft, more so about Zion Williams, the future, and the expectations of Zion Williams. And Skip and Shannon talked about it. They talked about it yesterday. How Shannon feels like he's not going to be a superstar. He's not going to be a transcendent type of player that revolutionized where the game has to change around Zion Williams. I don't think he feels like he's not going to be that. He's just going to basically just be a star. And basically, Skip, Shannon, as well as all the other talking heads, are checking boxes like, other than him being athletic, his size, his speed, his, how athletic he is, still he's going to have flaws in his game, such as jumpers. He does have a set jump shot, but it's more so of a non-contested jump shot than an actual contested jump shot with his perimeter game. But everyone's looking at what he's unable to do, and then they look at his weight. And he's like 260, I believe 280, something like that. And that's fine and all for his size, but if he gets bigger, can he still be explosive athletic wise? Is he going to be able to cover the court if he balloons up? I've been watching, everybody's comparing Zion Williams to like Blake Griffin, Charles Barkley. And to be honest with you guys, the same thing I said about LeBron James, the same thing I'm going to say about Zion Williams. You really can't necessarily compare him to current or former players, because there's no one that fits the description of Zion Williams in the past of the NBA. He can draw similarities to a lot of these players that were mentioned. But to me, I feel like Zion Williams' potential, and I'm only talking about the current state of the NBA today. If you look at the status quo of what teams go for as far as being successful and winning titles, this is a copycat league. A lot of teams tries to copycat the formula of the Golden State Warriors. Perimeter players that can defend well, and those perimeter players are snipe shooters. This is what the league has turned into. And before that, it was ISO play, isometric, where players such as LeBron, D. Wade, Kobe, Jordan, Pippen, they flourish in that dynamic. And now the ISO player has gone away, and it's now more of a perimeter game. Like players such as James Harden, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant. That's the current style that a lot of teams are adapting. Now, I will say this: Kawhi Leonard and Toronto Raptors, it was more so of athletic ability, covering both sides of the floor, and taking that and taking the shot. It was less of perimeter playing and more so of a team dynamic that you have men. I mean, you have guys that can guard multiple positions and defend very well. It was less of that. It was more of that and less of perimeter play and three-point shots and things of that nature. Now, I will say this: the Golden State Warriors, they didn't have Kevin Durant going into the finals, and they didn't have Klay Thompson for like 2 of those games. I feel like things would have been different if Kevin Durant was there and Klay Thompson didn't miss those games. I feel like that would have probably resulted in a NBA title for the Golden State Warriors, and that's why they're not sweating them losing the finals, because they understand that's the reason. That's ultimately the reason why they didn't win the title. Less so of Kawhi Leonard and his squad, and more so of the injuries. Okay, but with that being said, I feel like Zion, if you're talking about the current state of the NBA, he's going to have a hard time adapting to it, because his style don't necessarily fit with perimeter play. Now, he can develop a perimeter shot, which he does have one. It's a decent one, but he's going to have to develop that shot to where, you know, those uncontested, the times he was shooting, they were uncontested in college. They're going to be contested in the NBA, because the NBA, you know, I mean, it's not like college. Plus, college had, you know, the NBA has more games to play in the regular season, plus the playoffs. And I feel like more games will benefit Zion, because he's going to be slimmer than what he is. I mean, if you want to, he's going to be trimming down a lot. You know, a lot of people notice that, you know, even though he has muscle mass, they talk about how the fat that he you know, he's kind of pudgy. Okay, he's not fat, but he's just pudgy in some areas, and I feel like that's due to his eating habits. I feel like, you know, he's an 18-year-old kid, so of course he's going to eat like a teenager. All right, and once New Orleans, once they get him into their organization, I'm pretty sure they're going to have people around him to make sure that he eats a lot better. You know, he's always working out, so that's a plus. Okay, so body type wise, I feel like that's only going to get better. You know, because he's going to understand the nuances of being healthy. It's more to it than just going into the gym, working out, and you know, going on the court, you know, playing ball. You know, you have to monitor what you eat. It's dieting as well. So I feel like as far as his weight go, I don't think it's a cause of concern. Okay, a lot, you know, they point to Charles Barkley, and if they say, well, if Charles Barkley would have, you know, paid more attention to what he was eating, he could have prolonged his career. Okay, but you have to realize, back in those eras, you know, it was, you know, it wasn't, watching what you eat wasn't considered the norm back then. Okay, even though they had dieting and dietitians and things of that nature, it's just a lot of players felt like, you know, that wasn't really important. What's important is getting on the court. Okay, so I feel like his dieting is going to be on. I don't think anybody has to worry about him ballooning and gaining weight. To be honest with you, he's going to be losing weight. Okay, and that's going to benefit Zion Williams physically. Okay, as far as the skill side of things, he's going to have to develop a shot. Okay, he's going to have to develop a shot that he can depend on, because a lot of teams are going to contest him, because they feel like the way to beat him, and they're going to do him like Ben Simmons. The way to beat him is simply just let him have those open shots, those mid-range shots, because a lot of teams are going to feel like he's going to miss more than make. Okay, they're going to treat him like Ben Simmons until he's developed. But I feel like Zion is going to develop that, and you're not going to see it in the first 2 years. But I feel like he's going to develop to the point where teams are going to have to play up on him mid-range, because I feel like his third and fourth year, he's going to average pretty decent when you talk about his mid-range game. He's not gonna be a Dirk Nowitzki where he's going to develop all his game on the perimeter. But the athletic, the speed, and dunking, the putbacks, and things of that nature, that could be a caveat to his game. But I don't feel like Zion should depend on that every night, because there are going to be some nights where he's going to electrify you with the putbacks and the rebounds and things of that nature. But a three-pointer is a better. I mean, a three-pointer is a better shot in these times than a 2-point or a putback. For every 1 or 2 putbacks you put in, they can easily run to the other side of the court. And a lot of these players are developing that 3-point shot like it's an easy shot, like it's a breeze, and they can easily score 6 points to that 2 or 4 points. You understand what I'm saying? So you're gonna always be behind the 8 ball if your team can't match their will, sort of say. All right. Another thing that I see, it's not a struggle, but I see this in the sense of, he's going to be playing around a lot of younger players. Some of these players are going to be in the league for like 2 or 3 years. I feel like the dynamic between him and Alonzo and Brandon Ingram, I feel like, I think it's going to be sort of beneficial to him in the standpoint of Zoe. He's going to be more a facilitator. So those lobs, those easy lobs, I think that dynamic is going to be very important to them. Okay. And now with Alonzo being in the league for like 3 years, he can, I think, when you talk about him per se, I think you're going to see the very best of Alonzo Ball, because I felt like when he was with the Lakers, and when you saw flashes his first year briefly, but when LeBron got there, it kind of stifled a little bit, because LeBron is a facilitator too. So when you got 2 facilitators on the court and their best attribute is to facilitate the ball to other players, and you got 2 of them, it's going to stifle Alonzo's, because that's his style, that's his talent. He passes and then shoots second. Okay, he's a great defender, and I think the Lakers are going to miss an anchor on the defense. I'm not saying he was defensive player of the year, but what I am saying is he was excellent on the defensive end. Okay, and I feel like the Lakers are going to really miss that when it's all said and done. But that's another time and another live stream. But I feel like Alonzo pairing up with Zion, that's going to be a great 1-2 punch. And that, if they can keep Alonzo, if they can they can give him a contract extension if he's willing to stay in New Orleans, and if Zion's willing, which I feel like he's going to stay in New Orleans unless something dramatic happens. But if you can keep both of those players, I think you're going to have a lot of winning, successful seasons. Brandon Ingram, getting Brandon Ingram is also a plus for the Pelicans from the standpoint of once they get everything in its proper order, and once they get some chemistry and they mash together, he's going to be the type of player that's going to he's going to be a guy that just walks in the gym, walks in the arena and get his 20 and 5 to 10 rebounds and 6 or 7 assists. I think y'all gonna see a lot of great things with Brandon Ingram. Now, he don't have to worry about the Lakers. He don't have to worry about being traded. He don't have to worry about LeBron James, trying to prove to LeBron James that he belongs on a team. He's actually on a team that really wants him. They're going to flourish. But the problem is, you're not going to see none of this transpire in the first year. You're going to see some setbacks. You're going to see some my bads. You're going to see some, I'm trying to fit my style with their style. You're going to see a lot of that stuff. Ivan Gentry, believe it or not, is a great teacher, and he works well with younger players. And they're going to put people on the coaching staff that also work well with younger players. So I feel like Zion, Alonzo, Brandon Ingram, I feel like the sky's the limit with them guys, but you're not going to see that for the first depending on their development. I know for a fact the first year you're not going to really see it. People are going to be laughing and saying, "Man, the Lakers got one over the New Orleans Pelicans." They gave up all them draft picks plus those kids in return for AD, and look at them. And people are going to be making those comparisons, but you have to realize, this is going to be the first time they're playing alongside one another. They're a younger team, and I feel like the expectation as far as them going to the playoffs, that's going to be stifled. People are not going to say, well, they should be going to the playoffs and they should be in the second round and all that. They don't have to worry about that pressure. All they're going to have to worry about is playing alongside one another and chemistry. That's the first year of them being together. And then you're going to start seeing elements of it the second and third year. And I think this is going to be a great team when it's all said and done. Okay. The New Orleans Pelicans positioned themselves for the next 8 to 15 years. And even though AD is in La La Land, and with LeBron, they're going to get a lot of success early, but when LeBron retires, or when he falls off a little bit, which I fully expect LeBron to lose a step, just half of a step this upcoming year. AD was never known as the type of player that plays all 82 games. He's been injured. He's been in and out of the lineup. Okay. And I feel like when LeBron leaves and when LeBron gets older, and then when he retires from the league, it's going to be AD's team. And by that time, AD is going to be almost out of his prime. So if he's being injured, if he's missing games now, once he gets older, once he becomes 27, 30 years old, he's going to be missing a lot of time. Okay. And you can't say, well, we'll just go into the draft and we'll just draft some young kid to pair them alongside AD, because you just drafted your future to the Pelicans. So even though the Lakers are going to they're gonna be in the playoffs, how far I don't know. For the next 2 to 3 years, they're gonna be doing that. But then after that, that's when those picks are going to be very beneficial for the Pelicans. And so I feel like now, if you look at the future wise for just only New Orleans Pelicans, that's only going to make their team even more dangerous. Okay, so if they keep, I feel like the Pelicans should keep these young players, let them mesh, let them build a chemistry, and like Griffin said, Drew Holiday is the team. He's they're gonna build a team sort of around Drew Holiday without giving up what they have. Okay, but I feel like that's going to be a good team. The first year, I feel like there may be a 30-win team. Maybe I think the highest I'm going to go is maybe 40. Okay, but I feel like they're going to be a 30-win team. And I think the third year, if they keep all these young players, people should be looking out on the third year. But as far as Zion goes, is he going to be a star or a superstar? I feel like that's a to be continued type of moment, because it really depends on if the NBA goes back to ISO play, having a big man. And if you look at the draft last night, there was a lot of big men that were picked later in rounds, and I feel like once these big men start getting their bodies, getting in shape, building chemistry with the other teams, I feel like that's going to be, I feel like the old era of the NBA, where you have to have a big man in the middle or have an athletic big man at the power forward spot, that day is coming. Okay, because I'm not saying that day come, but if it does come, then that benefits Zion Williams. But currently, right now, everyone's trying to follow the blueprint of the Golden State Warriors perimeter game and shooting and not worrying about too much on the defensive end. Just have your moments when you talk about in stopping certain teams, but more so trying to outscore teams. That's the era we're in. And I feel like a change is coming, particularly, if next year the Golden State Warriors don't win, and let's just say hypothetically the Milwaukee Bucks win, or if Kawhi stays with Toronto, if they win again, or if or Philly wins, I feel like that's going to, now teams are going to copy those teams I just mentioned and say, well, wait a minute, they're doing it without a big three, without perimeter play. They're playing hard-nosed. They're playing both ends of the court. They're playing hard-nosed defense, and they score on those moments, okay, like Toronto did. So you don't necessarily need a big three. I feel like people are still, and more so with the Lakers and LeBron, it's more so, I feel like a lot of teams want a big three, want a super team. The problem with that is you're going to spend the majority of your money on the 3 star players, and then you're going to surround them with some mediocre top talent. So you're going to have to really depend on those star players more to get you through the regular season. And then once the postseason starts, that's when they don't have a lot in their tank. When you should have just, if you can just get 2 max star players and build around them, the sky's the limit for that. So Zion Williams, I feel like is to be determined on if he's going to be a star or superstar. It really depends on what the NBA goes to. I mean, are they going to continue to be if the NBA is going to be all about perimeter shooting, or is it's going to change into something else? If it change into something else, then the stock of Zion Williams is going to go through the roof, particularly if it change into ISO play, athletic play, the ability to play on both sides of the court. If it goes into that style, then that benefits Zion Williams. But if it continues to stay at this pace, then Zion Williams is going to add some more things to his reservoir, his skill. He's going to have to, just like Ben Simmons, they're going to have to stay in the court, on the gym, practice their mid-range game. Because if you don't have a mid-range game, it's going to be kind of hard for you to have a future in the NBA. Okay, so that's all I got to say about that, guys. Tell me what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe. See you when I see you. Peace.